Today's a sad day on the internet for fans of Cody Co. and the TMG podcast. Things recently said on the podcast could be the final nail in the coffin for Cody and his illustrious career. What did he say this time? Well...
Hey, it's me, Cody Co, Mamma Mia.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Tom Dark Show. I'm your host, Gay Communist Tom. White Boy Summer is officially over. I'm renouncing my racist ways.
Tell that pussycat girl me know what.
And the allegations are also back. In the past few months, we've had a series of allegations in the YouTube community to varying degrees of legitimacy. We had Shubble accusing Wilbur Soot. We had CaitiBugzz accusing GeorgeNotFound. We had Chugga Conroy being accused of extreme gooning. It feels like every week we're getting a new story, a new allegation. They're evolving. And just recently, Cody Co has found himself in some hot water.
That's what I'm feeling. I have a moist undercarriage for today's video. Let's just say that.
Well, today I thought it would be fun to run back through all these allegations, to recap them, and then see where we are now with these stories, because they've all come back. Everybody is posting updates, and Cody Co is being accused right now for the first time ever. Also, we're going to put timestamps in the description down below if you just want to see one part of this video. Okay, let's go. We're going to start out today with Wilbur Soot, everyone's favorite soft boy, the softest boy on YouTube, the most understanding of women guy on YouTube, okay? He gets you. If you're a woman, he gets you. I don't. He does. I actually hate people who dress and look like this, whatever this is. It reminds me of like Nick is Not Green or Ethan is Online. It's like that kind of person. Never thought I'd be racist against white people, but here we are. Just kidding. So Wilbur Soot originally came from this channel called Soot House that I remember way back in the day, where he and his friends would react to funny Reddit posts at a time when that content was dominating YouTube. Actually, back in the day, I had made like a video calling these guys content and Wilbur Soot actually, I think he commented on the video or something and was like, hey man, nice video. I kind of agree. And then from there, he became exponentially more famous than all of his collaborators through like general gaming content, lifestyle content. He's playing Minecraft, right? He's collabing with Dream and Tommy Ended and Quackity. He got to be huge. I mean, most of the people from Soot House don't really have a following anymore. He has like 5 million subscribers. And as I said, Wilbur built his brand on being a soft boy, okay? Which I looked up the definition here, so I'm experienced, okay? I know all the ins and outs. I'm informing you guys. A soft boy is a male-identifying individual. Male-identifying, keep in mind. Male-identifying individual that displays more tender traits from how they act to how they dress that are stereotypically associated with the feminine. You know, they wear these like pastel sweaters and like these little like big frame glasses. They basically dress like kind of a fairy is the deal. A kind of a Tinkerbell vibe going on. And as his channel grew, he explored even more creative avenues, okay? He's a creative guy. He's an artist. He had his own songs like Your New Boyfriend, and he had this song called I'm in Love with an E-Girl. And these songs became like actual hits. If you don't know, they got like tens of millions of views on YouTube. And because of his musical passion, he eventually formed his own band called Lovejoy. They're like a British indie rock band. He's the founding member, he's the singer, and all of these projects put together, I mean, basically made him one of the most famous people on the internet for a while. He transcended the YouTuber label, okay? He escaped the YouTube bubble to become like a true artist. He went on tour and stuff like that, and it built him a channel of 6 million subscribers in total. And the initial brand was definitely tied to like Minecraft content and the Dream SMP, but like I said, he transcended that to do other stuff, to be a famous music guy. I actually listened to some of the songs from Lovejoy, and you know what? They're not half bad. I can't, you know, for YouTuber music, they're certainly not that bad. And it's through this Minecraft content that back in the day, he met this girl named Shubble. She's been on the platform for a long time. Like since the Sky Does Minecraft days, she's been around. And they dated for a while, and then they broke up. And in February of 2024, the year of our Lord and Savior, she went live on her Twitch channel and made accusations about Wilbur. Now, at the time, she didn't name him. She didn't say who it was, but she did, you know, clearly outline that it was someone she'd been in a relationship with. People pretty quickly figured it out, and then once they figured it out, she publicly was like, yeah, it's him. You know, it's definitely him. But it wasn't just like any kind of accusation. It was accusations of physical domestic abuse. And beyond that, it also wasn't a typical domestic abuse allegation, because usually when you hear a story like that, it's like Chris Brown, you know, going to town on Brianna's face. It's that kind of thing. But this was a different story. This was about biting. He was biting her.
When I hear about physical abuse, I think of hitting. I think of hitting and punching. So I thought that this wasn't violent enough to be abuse. I thought that it was just like a constant accident that he kept hurting me. But he's not hitting me. And it didn't start as something that he did to hurt me. He had this habit of biting, which is so weird to me now, but he said that he had this habit since he was a kid, and even his mom said that that was true. And he said it was just affectionate, and that might have been I mean, I think that that might have been true maybe at the start, but I also feel that I have good reason to believe that every part of it was a lie, but that's just my personal opinion.
According to Shelby, Wilbur began the relationship by love bombing, which is the act of an abuser to enter a relationship with someone to get their guard down, you know, make them be all lovey-dovey and comfortable with them. And then they begin their behavior of abuse slowly over time, right? It happens slowly by exposing that person to that abusive behavior. So he would bite her and she thought it was playful. Apparently this is the thing everybody knew about in like their friend group, and his mom knew about it. They knew Wilbur was a biter. He was Wilbur Chomper. And it was at first a friendly thing and she was okay with it. She consented, but it would become more and more intense to the point that he was actually physically hurting her and he wouldn't stop regardless. He was like, "This is who I am." Even though they had a safe word that was agreed on, she claimed that he would frequently disregard it to bite her.
And he disguised it as this really quirky part of our relationship and was so comfortable sharing it with his friends to the point that he would do it in front of them. He thought it was this really funny story to tell and a good bit to take my arm and bite me in front of everybody until I literally shout in pain. And then I have to laugh it off.
She says she's continually expressing in the relationship that it's painful for her, but he continued to do it without expressing remorse. She had like bruises all over her arms, allegedly, okay, in her words, which he would poke fun at among their friends. So I guess like their entire friend group was aware of this going on and how uncomfortable it was for her.
And he even felt so comfortable showing off my bruises that he had caused to our friends because he would bite me so hard by accident. By accident, he would even joke that it looked like he abused me.
She said in this stream that every day they spent together in person, he would continue harming her. And they even had conversations at which point she would ask him to stop. She'd be like, "I don't like this." And he would just be like, "Well, this is just who I am, so take it or leave it." At this point, Shelby didn't provide any evidence for the allegations outside of what she said in this stream. So my biggest question at the time was like, is this real? Like, should I defend this guy? Like, I don't really know. There's no evidence yet. So ultimately for me, it was like, we got to wait to see how he responds to make a verdict. Well, he did eventually respond on February 27th of 2024 with a big statement, and it wasn't that good. It wasn't a very good response. He opens up by saying that like her feelings are valid, basically, right? Which if he thinks he's falsely accused is not the kind of thing you want to say. He says, "In the past week, a series of allegations have been made over my conduct from an ex-girlfriend. I want to emphasize that, although I feel it fair to offer my perspective, this person's feelings are completely valid. During our relationship's final months, I regrettably became slobbish, disrespectful, and selfish. These actions caused a lot of pain to my ex-girlfriend, and I've since sought therapy to address these behaviors. I have come to realize how much my past behavior hurt this person, but I truly, compassionately believe I have made great strides for the person I was and hope I can continue to grow and improve on this trajectory." So here it's like he's admitting he was a shitty boyfriend, basically. But then he goes on to be like, well, actually, I didn't really abuse her. He says, "The allegation of abuse, particularly in the form of biting, deeply shocked me. Throughout our relationship, I understood from our numerous conversations and text message exchanges on the subject that this behavior was consensual, playful, and reciprocally enjoyed. I truly believe those personal message exchanges reflect mutual affection and understanding." So he's basically saying here that he has like screenshots of her saying that she's cool with it, saying that she didn't express any discomfort, but he's not releasing it for some reason. The next part of this is he says, "Out of respect for her, I choose not to publish them, and I emphasize my perspective is not shared to diminish or invalidate anyone's feelings." But the thing is, like, if you think you're being falsely accused and you think you didn't abuse someone, why would you be like, well, also her feelings are valid? Like, that's a completely thing to say. These things can't coexist. Like, because if she wasn't genuinely abused, her feelings are invalid. If she was abused, then they're valid. But for whatever reason, he won't produce these screenshots if they even exist. And it was ultimately his death sentence. Basically, every creator came out and was like, "You're a piece of shit." Here we've got this person named, how the f do you say this name? Astor? And they made an entire thread of content creators who spoke out against Wilbur Soot. Here we have Sneeg Snag, the father, saying, "A majority of this is full of ways you've claimed to have grown and changed since this happened, but you've basically made what should be an apology of the pain you caused someone about yourself while barely saying anything else about it, and that speaks volumes." We've got this tweet by Amesy saying, "You started this off defending yourself by claiming you've changed, making it about you, then left the most simple yet most important thing for last, an apology. And even then, your apology isn't an apology. You left it at for any pain I've caused, which lacks any accountability." And this Amesy reply got 115,000 likes, and the initial statement got 60,000 likes, not even 60,000. So it was a brutal ratio. Meanwhile, his stans, who really wanted to believe he was a good person because they were parasocially attached to him, they were literally melting down. Like, his extremely parasocial audience was not having a good time being able to handle the idea that he was a piece of shit. Now, keep in mind, you can forgive a lot of these kids because that's what they are. A lot of his audience is children that came from the Minecraft days. So to an extent, it makes sense that they'd be so outraged that some content creator they looked up to turned out to be a bad person. You know, they weren't around for the earlier Minecraft allegations. They don't know. They don't know the Minecraft lore, boys and girls. Now, what Shubble said was pretty bad in and of itself. Like, it was a very damning allegation, I would say, for Wilbur, for his audience. But things got even worse when another ex-girlfriend of his, well, someone who claims to be his ex-girlfriend, Alice, claimed that they had dated for a brief time. She reconsidered getting back together with him, and after meeting up, according to her, he got her drunk, took her to his house, and then as she was blacking out because she's drunk, he undressed her, and that's the last thing that she remembered, which is basically an allegation of full-on,
Great.
I mean, that's kind of what's implied here, right? So past this point, more creators continue to pile on to affirm the allegations, to criticize his response, which in fairness, his response wasn't good. Dream himself comes out against this guy. He claims that Wilbur took accountability for being slobbish, disrespectful, and selfish, while overshadowing the physically abusive actions and claiming to be completely reformed. He says, "You seem to truly think you did nothing abusive, and the statement is built on that foundation. You are being dishonest with yourself or dishonest with us, or both." CPK here says, "I think the focus of what this statement should have been on is totally off. This appears that the main focus is yourself and your growth, and less for the person who is abused. A sincere apology should have been at the forefront of what you posted." So like I said, you have AMZ calling him out, Brooke from 100 Thieves, who is a famous person, called him out, even Lil Tay, okay? Rice Gum girl, Lil Tay.
Recently, this broke boy named Rice Dumb, what are his irrelevant ass names?
Hey, irrelevant.
She says narcissism at its finest, and she's actually been tweeting a lot lately. She's grown her Twitter account quite a bit from tweeting things, basically garnering Twitter interaction, farming Twitter, saying what they want to hear, and she's been doing that very successfully recently. And this was a massive story because of all the amount of crazy connections that Wilbur had. I mean, he was friends with Dream, Quackity, Tommy Innit. He had like huge YouTube connections. He was a part of the Dream SMP stuff. He had a big band. So a lot of people were coming out and being like, "You're a piece of shit. I'm gonna shit down your throat real quick." And honestly, the drama at this point has transcended anything he's done on YouTube in years. So you've got creators calling him out, you've got the fans are completely turning on him, and if the allegations are true, then there are a lot of people who knew him, like his friends and collaborators, Shelby's friends and collaborators, who were, you know, in the know about the situation, were very upset about it. So past this point, what happens to Wilbur? Well, his main channel on YouTube lost 500,000 subscribers after this happened, which is a pretty brutal loss, if you ask me. A lot of people assumed his career was basically over at this point. He's losing subscribers, you know, he's not going to be able to come back to YouTube without people calling him out. But one place he didn't lose a lot of subscribers, at least not as many, is on his band's channel, Lovejoy. Like I said, popular British indie rock band. There, he's got 1.3 million subscribers, and while they did lose 50k subs, I think you can kind of assume that the reason they didn't have as dramatic of a sub loss is that a lot of their following exists outside of the YouTube community. It's in a different space. I mean, if you look at the channel, some of these songs have over 10 million views on YouTube alone. If you look at their Spotify, 3 of their songs have over 100 million plays. Like, that's a legitimate, like, pop star radio hit right there. They're a pretty big band, especially for a rock band in 2024 that came out recently. And like I said, some of the songs are pretty decent. So if Wilbur was going to come back anywhere, if he was going to come back to YouTube anywhere and even have a chance of having any kind of career, I think it kind of had to be on the band. It kind of had to be this music thing that exists outside of it. I mean, there's plenty of YouTubers who, like, people will stop watching if they're a shitty person, but as far as like music people go, it's not really the same. Like, Chris Brown still gets money after he, you know, after he went John Jones mode on Rihanna. Oh wait, that's literally a 1-to-1. Shout out John Jones, I guess. But he still had a career. There's lots of musicians who have had crazy allegations against them, and people still listen to their music. People still listen to our comeback, and I think he knows that, and that's exactly what he did.
I'm back from my break. I just want to make this quick video to briefly talk about what the 4 of us at Lovejoy have planned for the rest of this year. But first, I wanted to mention some stuff was said about me on the internet a couple of months ago. And if you haven't already seen, I responded back in February. That response is all I want to say on the matter for now. And yeah, I'd much rather talk about what the plan is for us going forward. So going into summer, we're going to be doing a tour of Australia. So if you live in Australia and you want to see Lovejoy play live, we really hope to see you there. In a couple of months, we'll be releasing our new single, I'll Look Good When I'm Sober, which we've been working on for ages now, and we're really excited for you to hear it. And of course, we're very excited to get back into the studio, writing and recording, and we'll show you what we've got when we've got it. But yeah, I hope you're all well.
This video was posted to his Instagram, and it caused a lot of discourse on social media. On one hand, you have the few remaining Wilbur Soot fans from the Minecraft days who are like, oh my god, he's back, yes, I'm so excited that he's back. And then on the other hand, you have people who reply to that, who are in the know about the allegations or think he's a person, who say things like, this is funny because just like Wilbur Soot, dolphins are sexual predators, which is, I mean, it's funny. Now, one thing I found pretty weird about the whole Wilbur response from before, other than the fact that I've never seen a YouTuber take the route he's really taking when the backlash was so massive, is that he never actually addressed the accusation from Alice, which is basically the worst of the two. Like, what happened to Shelby, if it's completely true, is bad, very bad. Alice, I mean, her claim is basically that she got, you know, assaulted. I mean, that's pretty bad, and he never responded to that. He never said anything about it. In fact, he's never mentioned this Alice person publicly. Now, you can either take that as like he didn't think it was worth responding to because he's innocent, or it's not worth it because he's guilty. It's honestly hard to say because of the limited information we have around that encounter. All I know is one person said something happened, and Wilbur has been very vague about it all, and this specific thing he hasn't even talked about. Wilbur Soot is proof that hatred and being a bad person makes you uglier, or cocaine. It might be cocaine. Dude, he looks the same as he's always looked. Gay as also, did someone say cocaine?
Did someone say cocaine? Did someone say
crack? Did someone say cocaine?
Hey, buddy, you want to give me some of that?
I just need a little bit. I just need a little.
Just a pinch, laddie. Just a pinch of crack rock.
Please. Shelby Shubble herself also spoke about him coming back. She apparently has some inside information. She claims that he had to get a new therapist because he lied too much to the old therapist he had. And apparently his band doesn't really care about his personal development or him getting better. They just want to go on with the show. You know, they're music businessmen.
The whole thing about abuse is that it isn't about, you can't take these actions apart. It is the whole story. It is the whole picture. Abuse happens slowly over time. It's like, what do they say? Putting a frog in a pot of water and bringing it to a boil. It will stay there till it dies. But if you put a frog in a pot of boiling water right away, it'll jump out. It is slow over time. It is everything together as a big picture. It is all of the actions as one. This is all just really important information for me to repeat, because I care about victims of abuse. I care about this being taken seriously. I care about people talking about abuse accurately. I've seen people say, take my story as full truth and say that it is not abuse simply, because they don't believe biting can be abuse, they're implying. Biting does not equal abuse inherently. Again, biting can exist without harm. Never the issue was biting. We can entirely remove it because it never mattered that it was biting. He was hurting me. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter that it was an unconventional mean. It was against my will. You can know that it is intentional because it escalated and it was repetitive. Those aren't an accident. They don't happen by accident. And on top of that, he did it in front of everyone we knew. And I said that, and people are like, their friends are believing her at her word. Every single one of our shared friends saw him do it. All of them. Literally everyone. He did it in front of everyone we knew, on a regular basis, constantly, even daily, in front of other people. He did it in front of his family. He did this in front of all of the people that we shared as friends, in front of my friends, in front of his friends, everybody. It was just known about our relationship by everyone we knew. It was seen by everybody, not him biting me, him hurting me. A very clear distinction between those two things.
I'll never get over how weird this specific allegation is. Okay, if I'm gonna say this, I need to get out of whatever I'm doing right now. He's biting her. Like, he can't stop himself from biting her, is what they're saying. Like, I can't even, why is he biting? Why does he like biting? Why is he biting her? I remember her saying that, like, everyone knew he was into biting. Like, his mom knew he was into biting, and he would even do it in like a non-sexual context. He would just bite her in public. He just felt the need to like chomp down on some flesh. Like, what? I've never seen an allegation like this before. Wilbur Soot? More like Wilbur Minecraft zombie. Yes.
There's no text message in existence. There is only actually a message where at the very first mention that I find out he is someone who bites before I ever met him, my first statement about it is that it may never hurt. He may never bite me and it hurt. It has to always not hurt. It's just funny to me that you can say, I thought this was consensual. I have texts to prove it. I said it. I said it myself. And I said it again and again after as well. Not the issue. Was never the issue. It is manipulation. That was manipulative right in front of your face. So if you want to believe he's changed, that's who he is. That was the last thing he did. And then he doubled down on that ass apology. So that's who he is. Tried to manipulate you and is really still hoping that it works out so that he can carry on and not change. Because the truth is, he has not been in consistent therapy. His friends know that. He admitted openly to them that he had to start seeing a new therapist because he lied too much to his first one. And they are accepting of that. That is okay.
Somehow she has inside knowledge of whatever's going on. I guess someone from the Soot camp is leaking to her. Maybe they still have a mutual friend or something. But I'm just surprised that Lovejoy is powering through this so much, because not even that long ago, they felt the need to apologize because one of the members used to have a YouTube channel where he said the word. His name is Ash Kabosu, but I actually used to know this guy a little bit back in the day. We were in some group chats together, and he was called Cynic Snacks, which is pretty funny. He had like a pizza profile picture. You can probably find re-uploads on YouTube. Yeah, he was like almost in the commentary community. He made like movie reviews. He was hanging out around all the commentary channels. For some reason, Nicholas Diorio violently hated him. I not violently. He just hated him. I can't even remember why. He didn't like his cheese pizza persona, I guess. But yeah, this guy basically, he became a part of this band, and then he ended up posting this apology, which felt very, very insincere once people found his old tweets, and it was filled with like every buzzword you would ever expect from an apology of this nature, right? It's like the typical, almost chat GPT generated YouTube apology. There was an old account I used to make content for, and I should be open about it being behind me. Some jokes and comments I made were badly worded, in poor taste, and have never truly represented who I aim to be. They are snarky, sarcastic, and ignorant attempts at humor, hammed up to fit a persona that was rooted entirely in negativity, and I don't stand by any of it. Hence why I moved away from the account years ago. Even at the time, I knew it had got to a place I was very deeply unhappy with. I'm genuinely sorry to people that are offended by anything I said. But like, even saying this is crazy, because what he said wasn't to any Lovejoy fans. It was to an audience that understood the humor, right? Like, it wasn't to them. It was years ago. Like, these people had to look for this to find it and then get offended on someone's behalf, I guess. I'm also sorry that this harmful rhetoric has been re-platformed recently, bro. The harmful rhetoric re-platformed? He said, I must be held to account. So thanks for bringing it to, it's like the most phrasing ever. Why would you ever type something like this? Cynic Snacks. I know the real based 4chan red-pilled Cynic Snacks is in there somewhere. Come home, please. Come home, babe. I love you. I also apologize for not having already removed the tweets. I lost access to the email, and inaction is a personal flaw that I'm working on. Inaction is a personal flaw I'm working on, bruh. Shut up. You don't need to make this mistake. You know what? Maybe you do, actually, if you're in this like weird British indie pop community of teenagers that watch you and are all mentally ill and use TikTok and think that they're non-binary or something. Like, maybe that is what you need to do, basically. Maybe that's the thing you need to do. Inaction is a personal flaw I'm working on. Being a gorilla is a personal flaw I'm working on. I've managed to regain access and remove the account now to prevent affecting anyone else. In short, I don't stand by the views expressed. I moved on a long time ago, and I'm sorry. This is just like, it's such a crazy thing to even say, because if you look up Cynic Snacks on YouTube and you actually like find any of the videos, they're not that bad. Like, he's just like reviewing movies in like a slightly sarcastic way with these weird animations. Like, he's not like espousing racism in the videos, okay? It's not that crazy. He's just like, today we're gonna be talking about the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm a pizza, by the way. I'm a pizza. I'm a cat in a Minecraft house. I'm a cat. As for the associated YouTube channel, I've made the videos private and spent the past few days reviewing them and reconciling my thoughts. Dude, I can't with this guy. As I haven't seen that content for a long time. The videos on the channel do represent a great deal of work and effort, as it was a project I spent a number of years on. I don't want to just delete it all and leave you to think it was all horrible and offensive, as this isn't the case. True. But the content was created for an entirely different demographic. Ash Kabosu. I never imagined an account left dormant for years would be presented to this new audience. Myself and the internet at large has progressed a lot since the videos were created and uploaded. However, there's a lot of content on there that I'm still very proud of, and I know people will find enjoyment in, even if it is mostly me complaining about insignificant things, as was the original intended nature of the channel. Moving forward, I want to ensure anything that is public and associated with me continually aligns with my attitudes and beliefs. Thank you, Ash X. Well, thank God for aligning with the proper attitudes and beliefs now. And the funny part about this is you can actually like look into the tweets that people found. This tweet from Justin Wang, he found some of them. And here we have Cynic Snack saying, really don't feel comfortable with poor Tubbo stuck between James Charles and Michael Jackson. This guy says Michael Jackson literally isn't a pedophile. And Cynic Snack says he would 100% invite Tubbo to his Neverland Ranch if he were still alive. Like, it's not even that bad. It's a joke at Michael Jackson's expense. The guy wasn't even that edgy, but now that he's in this like big pop band, I guess he needs to apologize. But also like that kind of doesn't work anymore because now a lot of their fans think the lead singer of their band is a so like there's no response there. Does that really make sense? And that's why I think that this initial response is so fake. It's so transparent. But he has to make a big response when he gets caught like saying or something. Makes a lot of sense.
They want him back to work. They don't think that it's important to insist he do any significant amount of therapy first. Hell, a year at minimum. It isn't important for them to stay in his life for him to change. At this point, that's very clear. And I don't think that's a friend. I don't think those are friends. I think that's using him. And I think that's how I feel about it. That's how it looks for me. If you're going to insist on keeping somebody that's done such horrible things in your life and be around them and support them, at least your job is to insist that you are seeing them be better. You are seeing actions that are showing they're better.
So with all of that, Lovejoy has announced an Australian tour, which is kind of odd because they're from England and they haven't really toured in a while. So you would think like a tour in the UK would make more sense than a tour in Australia. A lot of people are saying there's no way they're going to sell tickets. I honestly have no idea. I don't know what these people's music listening audience is like. I wouldn't be shocked if some people go to their shows and like try to mess with Wilbur, but this one is really a toss-up. They do have 1 million, like I said, monthly listeners on Spotify, so they definitely have fans out there who will watch their listen to their music. But for now, it kind of remains to be seen. Also in the news, I went outside to smoke a cigarette and realized I was wearing this shirt. And I got some of the craziest looks I've ever gotten in my life. That was awesome. And what's also awesome is that CaitiBugzz is back, everyone's queen. Now, when this happened, I did like 5 live streams about it or something, a whole main channel video. There was a ton that went into this situation, a lot of discourse revolving around the CaitiBugzz question. So if you want more details, watch those. Watch the video on the main channel if you want every single little detail. But the long and short of it is that on March 9th, 2024, a small streamer named CaitiBugzz came out with her story saying that she had been directly inspired by Shubble to come out about the she experienced. To make a long story short, she basically said that she was assaulted by GeorgeNotFound, who is Dream's best friend. She said that while she was playing drinking games with George and his friends in Dream's hotel room, this older creator who had previously been hitting on her and messaged her on Instagram made a point to sit next to her, and then out of nowhere, when she's on her phone, she feels him slip his hand under her shirt in front of everyone.
Out of nowhere, I felt him slip his hand under my clothes, sitting next to me on the couch in front of everyone. He disguised it with a simple, "Are you ticklish?" I coughed out a no, still staring at my phone. I was overly aware of the fact that we were in front of other people, the fact that everyone else was sitting around us, watching us, including my best friend, and that his hand was inching further to places I hadn't asked for it to be. He made a game out of my embarrassment, where he would touch me in certain areas to make me lose the phone game I was playing. I was scared and I felt sick, either from the alcohol or from his touch. It didn't matter because my mind was a blur.
She claimed to be haunted by this incident for months. She tried to cope herself into believing it wasn't serious, or maybe that she was lucky for such a thing to happen to her. She's, going through mental turmoil. She said she was traumatized, basically. So George responds saying he would never break anyone's sexual boundaries or assault anyone. And then Katie's friends like Max GG told him he should rot in hell for ruining his friend's life. George said he would respond with evidence. Max said there's nothing he could do to refute the claim. And then this Max guy also had this very funny stream moment that a lot of people have put like shoegaze or like Deftones music behind it, which is pretty cool. Some people have put Midwest emo over this epic rant. Cut my life into pieces.
My friends or anybody else as a scapegoat for your fucking sexual abuse is disgusting, okay? My friend cried in my fucking arms about this, and you're on stream denying it all, denying the fucking hurt that you caused to her. You are disgusting people. You and all of your abuse sympathizer friends, you are all horrible. Seriously, you are so wrong for trying to displace this sexual assault onto anyone but yourselves. You are a 26-year-old man, 27 now, trying to put the blame on 18-year-olds that you don't know. What the fuck?
Now that is an awesome defense of your friend. It makes you look really good. Truly based moment. So Katie posted a statement on Twitter preparing for George's response. She was like, pull whatever you can find. I have also screen recorded everything. I plan on using it to support my case if needed. But share it on my behalf if you'd like, because we both know what happened. That's why I can sleep at night without scrambling for screenshots to try and twist. You hear that, George Not Found? You hear that? I'm coming for you. George Not Found, I know your location. I'm en route to your home at your house in Cincinnati, Ohio. You thought you had Ohio Riz, didn't you little bitch? Oh, you're nothing to me. You're nothing. Dream, I'm coming for you. I know your location. Well, George ended up responding, and it made it look like Katie was, at the very bare minimum, somehow miraculously misremembering a ton of details, and at the worst interpretation, lying. So on March 11th, George posts his response. While Katie claims she had been playing games on her phone to escape the situation of being creeped on, George claims she was playing a game on her phone while also passing it around to everyone in the room. Everyone was invested. They were all having fun. The vibe was very different from her, like, huddled around on the couch, basically trying to prevent herself from being owned, from being gorilla moded by this other guy.
During this, me and Katie were at the far end of the couch and we were cuddling together. We had been cuddling for, I'd say, around an hour at this point, playing the game, talking, and just having fun. And for clarity, I had my hand around her waist above her clothes. So with her statement where she's saying that she's resorting to playing games on her phone, I just don't really understand it. And I think that the picture that she's painting is really dark.
He also showed that they continued to play and talk about this game for months afterwards, and they were all, you know, buddy-buddy about it. She even at some point said that she was going to England to hang out there, and she kind of, you know, the implication there, she was maybe messaging him to hang out. They didn't end up hanging out, but the implication is she's letting him know so maybe they can see each other, right?
Now, I will say she didn't come out outright and say, I'm in London, but she did say that she had gone to a place that was known to be a London thing. And I commented on that and said, and asked what she was doing in London. And just to clarify, we did not meet up whilst in London, nor make plans to do so. She was always extremely friendly to me. I was friendly to her. And honestly, I was very shocked to hear her say the things that she did say during her stream.
Now, that clip I just played, George said something that really changes the entire allegation, because according to him, he and Katie were sitting at the end of the couch, but they were also cuddling, which is something that was never put in Katie's initial allegation. She never said they were cuddling at all. She said it came out of nowhere. He says they'd been cuddling for around an hour, playing this game collectively on her phone, at which point his hand went under her shirt and she expressed no discomfort. Now, this is according to him, of course, but it makes Katie's story look way less credible. Like, why would she leave something like that out? By this point, a lot of people had already been doubting her story and calling her basically a moron.
Like, why are we leaking this? Like, you are lucky. You're lucky that that was the only thing that happened. This is such a lucky lesson learned. Like, okay, I was underage, drinking. I was already pretty dumb. Probably shouldn't go back to hotel rooms with guys alone. Some guy kind of like felt me up a little bit, but nothing happened and then I left. That is a lucky scenario. That's lucky. Nothing happened. You're good. Like, holy shit. What an easy way to learn a lesson without anything insane happening. Wait, what the?
It was the first time anyone had ever touched me. I assured myself that I was just being sensitive about it all, that it wasn't a big deal, but assuring only can go so far. I felt dirty in a way that I couldn't wash off.
Bro, where did she get what diary was she reading? Like, oh, I felt dirty in a way that could never come. I could never be clean again. Like, who gave her this language? There's no way she's writing. Like, bro, come on, really?
And due to this and a number of other inconsistencies in Katie's story, and the fact that afterwards she admitted, yes, we were cuddling, like it kind of just made her look really bad, and she got by the entire internet. The world went gorilla mode, not just George Not Found. Apart from a few people inside of the Minecraft community who still support her to this day. Well, now she has this new post, I believe from her Discord server, where she says she'll be making a comeback, and she doubles down on the allegations from before, saying, you know what, I'm in the right, I'm still in the right, I may have f***ed it up, but I'm in the right. What has become of the situation is a pile of confusion and miscommunications, one's too far out of my reach. The idea that this happened at a 21 plus club, that I said I was even people pretending to know me. None of it's true. It was never said, so all I can do now is let it be. I still stand by what I said and have been saying, that I was touched underneath my clothing, groped in the chest, without consent and under the influence. I never said it was more than that, but stand by it wasn't any less. If he is the character he claims, he can also confirm this detail. But the whole point of what George said is like, yeah, that did happen, but I had consent. You were cool with it. You were cuddling with me for an hour. We were talking, we were flirting, we were giggling, and once I did that, you never expressed any discomfort to me. Only after the fact did she express that apparently something bad had happened. I mean, the fact that you conveniently left out that you were spooning for an entire hour before this speaks volumes, because I think Katie knew it would look horrible if she included the detail about them cuddling. It would hurt her story. So she decided to omit that to lie by omission to not have it in. I understand I mixed up details on the lead up to the assault. I've acknowledged my misspoken moments and addressed them. Many people wonder how I can mess up those other details due to being drunk, but still remember what happened to me and being felt up. I don't really have an explanation other than you tend to remember those things no matter how hard you try not to. I'm sorry, I really don't have better answers. Well, it wasn't just details leading up to the assault. It was also the specific assault itself and what happened after. Like when you said a specific DM was from someone who it just wasn't from.
And she shows a text message that she says is from him from the night where this happened, where he says this. Obviously, this is implying that he was kind of uncomfortable with what was happening, and also that he knew her age, despite just meeting her. And when I first saw this, this actually majorly changed my perspective on the night, because that would mean that my friend was also uncomfortable and somehow knew her age when I didn't. And even though she said that he left early, my memory of it was actually that he was the last to leave, just before me and Katie left. Dream also came to me and mentioned that this changed his perspective of the night as well, because that would mean that he was essentially the only person that wasn't uncomfortable, and that therefore he should have known. This really concerned me. I kind of was just sitting there like really thinking, how could this have happened? So I reached out to my friend to talk to him about it. And it turns out that he actually didn't send this message. I'm going to play a phone call that I had with him after I found this out, just because I think it gives more context.
What's up?
So there is a text that is claimed to be from you.
Yeah, I didn't send that text. I found out about it when you sent it to me. But yeah, no, that wasn't me. I don't know where they got that from. I didn't ask them for any of their phone numbers or anything like that.
For some reason, Katie had used this message to prop up her side of the story when in reality it wasn't even from this person. You could argue she was confused about who it was from. I think at the time she said that one of her friends told her it was from that person. But realistically, if you're making a public allegation, you got to have the guy dead to rights. And when that comes out in the court of public opinion, if you lied or you got something wrong, you're going to be called out and it calls your story into question. Whatever charitable view you want to give this, it's still a major flaw from her story and knocks down her strongest new screenshot she had at the time. That, combined with the cuddling thing and all the other details from the story not making much sense, I think really hurt her case. While this is totally anecdotal, this guy also says that Katie's recount of how it all went down is insane.
I couldn't really believe it, like half the shit I was hearing. Like, as someone that was there, like other ways that I've heard it being like described, like from what I was like reading and watching online, is actually kind of insane.
Katie claimed a lot of the touch was initiated by him and that she was uncomfortable with it. Once again, keep in mind she left the fact that they were cuddling out of her initial allegation entirely.
I do think a lot of the cuddling was initiated by me, but some of it wasn't. I was also drunk, but my impression at the time was that it was very mutual. She also says that, quote, I didn't know cuddling was an invitation. I don't think just cuddling is an invitation for anything. I only brought the cuddling up because it's something that she didn't mention at all in her original stream.
We sat on the couch, and the older guy sat right next to me while playing. It was a little after that, when I resorted to playing games on my phone when it happened.
And again, it's something that I think people need to know about to understand my perspective fully. The next thing that she talks about is that I said she got up and sat back down with me multiple times. She agreed with this, but said that the reason she did this is because, quote, I didn't want someone I had watched for a while or with a large following to hate me for denying to even sit near him. Now this makes me feel terrible. It's something that she mentions throughout, this power imbalance, but this is not something at all that I was thinking about at the time. She was a VidCon invited guest, she had a hotel room on the same floor as Dream, she was friends with my friends, and honestly I just never imagined that this is something that she could have thought. Next she talks about me being more touchy as the night went on, and says this, quote, you didn't know me, apparently you didn't even know my age, but you knew what I wanted. No, he assumed it's what I wanted because why wouldn't I want that from someone like him? This is absolutely not how I think about this kind of situation at all. I would never think like that, and honestly it's kind of an evil way to think about things. Just having the opinion that you can do anything because you're famous or whatever. And I never once remotely thought anything similar to that. And I feel terrible reading those words knowing that you think that about me. I would never think that I'm owed anything from anyone just because I have a YouTube channel, especially in an intimate context. Again, I'm really sorry for this, and it actually has been pretty eye-opening to me, and it's just not how I've ever really thought about stuff before. And I don't really think you're wrong for assuming that I thought like this, because obviously there are people out there that think like that and use that to take advantage of people. And it makes sense that if you think that about me, that you would hate me. But That is not who I am at all. And I just really hope that you can understand that.
So when all these major details add up, it really looks like Katie is full of shit. As to people saying it was my fault for going there, for being drunk, etc., I can't say much. It's fine to find me at fault and even hate me because you can. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. What I experienced was true, and so were my emotions recalling it. I was clumsy with real fear, real pain, real tears, and there was no way to prove it. I mean, it's not your fault for being drunk in the way that, like, you being drunk doesn't mean that it's your fault you were assaulted. I just don't think you were assaulted, point blank. It's not a what was she wearing type thing, because anybody who says that is a complete moron and a genuine apologist. But what happened to Katie is just not, it's not SA. It's not, I'm sorry. I thought I was doing something to help, to bring awareness to the complexity of SA and its different situations, to reach someone sheepish like myself, but I fear I failed. You're right. You did fail. I'm really sorry at the view now painted on it all, more so because I wanted to be someone people could find safety in and confidence in. I always have tried to be. I apologize. But now, seemingly everything I do has a meticulous reason behind it. One really stemmed from premeditated opinions. I can't change a mindset long before I speak. But this is the most frustrating thing about all of this, because, like, I can't speak for anyone else, really. There are definitely people who just want to shit on a woman and are, like, waiting, you know, because they want every allegation to be false and would even be willing to justify horrible things happening. But that doesn't apply for me. And as far as I'm aware, I think I have the biggest comprehensive video about the situation out. I mean, I was totally willing to hear her side, and until George responded, I remained neutral and everything. And I even shit on my chat who were like, she has a septum piercing, she must be lying, right? I was shitting on them. I was like, well, we don't know. Like, we don't know the full context. We don't know what George is going to say. Maybe she's telling the truth. Because while I don't think we should believe all victims, I think we should believe the real victims, right? They're the ones who tell the truth, because they are actual victims and they need their story told, if that's what they want. But in Katie's case, that's just not what happened. Look, my biggest problem with these situations is I feel like there's only two sides you can take. It's either believe everything the victim says completely, or she's a liar. And the truth is usually like neither of those. In rare cases like with Quite, we have crazy liar. In cases like with Lionmaker, we have he's completely guilty. But cases like that are that cut and dry are so rare. And that's why it pisses me off. In the same way that it pisses me off when I see people saying, believe all victims. They're, you know, it doesn't matter if they have evidence. Like in the same way that pisses me off. It pisses me off when I see the other side, which is this like brain rot commentary that's like, lying bitch. You don't know that she lied. It's like insufferable. And you can see over time from these streams that my tune changed quite a bit when it came time for George to respond, where he debunked everything that happened pretty well, I would say. So to me, at least, I mean, I can't speak for everyone. I can't speak for anyone else, but I definitely let Katie speak. I didn't have like a preconceived notion about if she was telling the truth or lying. I'm not a GeorgeNotFound fan. I don't give a about GeorgeNotFound. All I did was like look at the allegations the best I could from all the evidence I had, and I came to the conclusion that she was full of shit. And when what she said looked dumb, all I did was point that out. In a very silverback way, may I add. I left the internet to come to terms with a lot. I realized I never took the time to. Somehow the situation has made it all feel less real, and still it never leaves my mind. I know it may not seem like it, but I never had a secret objective or need for the attention that came. I'm sure deep down I felt wronged, like something was taken from me, but nothing is as simple as it feels. In truth, I saw someone I looked up to speak out about something hard and figured I could do the same. My balls itch. Maybe I could become that person for someone else, or help someone realize what happened to them, that it wasn't their fault. I can't help but feel like a failure. I tried so hard to be this beacon while I'm still struggling myself. I hope everyone who's gone through SA, no matter the severity, heals. If you've gotten justice or not, if it's black or white or not, it's valid. I hope you heal for every time and once over. I also believe that if you have the courage, take it up to court every time. Unfortunately, in my life, I've seen those close to me failed by the system, resulting in my negative outlook and my idea of injustice. No matter, you should not take my opinion and my way of going about things into your path of justice. I'm sure you can do it. Positive, goodbye. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't take the CaitiBugzz path. That was not a very good path to follow, was it? Well, you know, I would really like this message if it came from like literally anyone else, but unfortunately it came from CaitiBugzz, so I would say it's officially over from my perspective. You know, the Minecraft community has gone through a lot of changes lately. I mean, Wilbur Soot had his career basically destroyed. It remains to be seen if his music career can carry on at all. We'll really have to wait and find out on that one. GeorgeNotFound and Dream may be okay in terms of allegations, but they're like widely hated despite the fact that they're innocent, and people still call Dream a file to this day, which is pretty crazy. And it also seems like they've lost a lot of their creator connections across the sea. Tommy Innit, for example, I believe is friends with the screaming guy I showed earlier.
And you're on stream denying it all!
So I would imagine you can't really be friends with that guy and also be friends with GeorgeNotFound or Dream. Like, that's kind of a hard position to have just based on how high tensions are for these people, right? Not to mention, Tommy clearly doesn't like Dream based on that whole QSMP drama and that skit he posted, which was a pretty funny skit. But if you watch it, it's clear that he doesn't think very highly of Dream for whatever reason.
Yes, it's done! A Minecraft server to combine multiple communities, my communities together, and bring the world together. This is an amazing idea.
Hey, I don't like that idea. It's actually my idea, not yours.
That doesn't... Okay, that's fine. We can both do it, I guess.
Stop ignoring me.
What?
Stop ignoring me. You haven't replied to my DMs in a whole week.
Yeah, okay, that... I just didn't... That's fine, I just didn't really want to.
You're not nice.
No. Oh, okay.
You're actually really bad. I don't like it. I don't like it. You're a bully. You're a bully.
Oh, okay.
I don't like it very much. I don't like it.
Fine! Just leave me be!
That's it! You destroyed our friendship! Telling everybody, I tell everyone!
Okay, I don't want to do this right now.
Posted it! Posted it!
What?
Too late now. Too late. History.
Why would you do that?
No, it's no hate, though, man. It's no hate. It's just love, man. It's just love. I think you're a bad person, that's all, but it's no hate.
That's just an insane response to this.
I didn't send anyone to hate on you, man. It's all love. It's all love from me. I just think that you're the worst person ever. Wear a smile. Wear a smile more. Smile more. Big friendly dream. Big friendly happy dream. Because you f***ed it. You f***ed up. So... not my fault, really. Not my fault, is it now?
But you just...
Not really anything to do with me anymore. Also, while I'm here, I've got to ask, will you buy any of my plushies, please? It's only $350. Everyone can afford.
There's clearly this divergence between audiences where Dream and George are kind of in their own world, and then all the British people are in their own world, and they just don't like each other. They don't with each other like that. For now, it remains to be seen if Dream will even make a serious comeback to YouTube or if he's just going to fade into irrelevance. I know Sunny V2 did that video predicting he had like a very limited window of time to come back to YouTube or it was over. I think he was probably right, but I'm not really sure what the guy is going to do. And thankfully for all of you, the content's not over. We have a bonus allegation today. Big bonus allegation about a very beloved YouTuber. Am I doing jazz hands? Oh my, I'm taking estrogen at this point. Jesus. Cody Co. It's Cody Co. Boys, the girls are upset. This one is, this is hot off the presses, ladies and gentlemen, and it involves a beloved commentary channel by the name of Schmody Schmo. Now, we've been talking about this area of the internet a lot recently, like when I covered the Beaner allegations made against Danny Gonzalez.
If anybody else saw that video and was uncomfortable by it, I'm very sorry. I should not have been using that word.
Or when Danny apologized for drinking Starbucks, that was also a thing he did recently.
Gotta stay gay, gotta stay gay.
Genocide supporter alert.
But Cody is less politically like annoying, I guess. I don't even give a f about Danny Gonzalez's politics. Like it's a fine to be a leftist. Like it's not an inherently bad thing to be even just a Democrat or like left leaning, or it's like it's who gives a f. But like apologizing for drinking Starbucks is just. But I haven't seen Cody apologize for anything dumb that I can tell. Anyway,
I apologize. No, actually I don't. Go f yourself.
What? And he makes pretty funny videos with Noel Miller. They make videos about like Girl Defined, Jake Paul, Darman, and they made a really big impact online. They're another one of these channels that's heavily inspired by H3, and then they kind of like became honestly bigger than H3 was at his peak back then, you know, with like the commentary videos. Cody himself has 6 million subscribers. He's got a podcast with Noel, and they also have Tiny Meat Gang, which is the name of their music duo where they produce hip urban youth bangers.
I put a face on my wood like a totem pole.
Pretty good song, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed it. Well, according to Tana Mongeau, the woman of the hour,
he f***ed me with a toothbrush.
Tiny Meat Gang is actually a real gang. It's a reality because she said that Cody's dick is small.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the f***?
Not only that, she said the reason that she knows that is because she slept with him when she was 17 and he was 25. Tana has this live show. She does. I guess she's like touring around to promote her book. Who gives a f? It's Tana Mongeau, like at a live show. Who cares, okay? She was asked about who the smallest dick she'd ever been with is, and this is what she said.
Who's the smallest dick you've ever had sex with? Oh my god, no one look at me, Cody Co. Delete the videos. I can say that. I was literally 17. I can say that. What? Sorry. Delete the
It seems that Cody Co has finally destroyed the BWC allegations, boys and girls, okay? I, Cody Co, do not have a BWC, and I would never. That would be disgusting.
4 years. 4 years I've been editing this man's videos. Oh my god, it's so funny when the editor shrinks Cody. Nope. No shrinkage here, folks. Hey, yo! We're showers, not growers. And I'm showing you the truth right now.
Not only that, but according to Tana, she was 17 years old when it happened, which makes a lot of people feel pretty strange. They feel weird, uncomfortable even, okay? They feel kind of, whoa, hey, 17, big guy. Hey. And then you got some other people who are like, 17? What's the big deal? Now, what's very interesting about this to me is that this is the first time I've ever heard of this allegation against Cody, this story, okay? But years ago, people were talking about it. This is not the first time Tana has said this.
But she was very young at that point in her life. Was she legal? Was she just on the verge? Who knows? But it's still very weird because Cody Co was in his mid-20s at that point. I believe 25, 26. So, like, either way, whether she was legal or not, it's just, like, a very weird dynamic to have. And she basically said how she hooked up with both of them, both JC and Cody Co. And people are now posting these kind of TikToks about it with, like, the clip from the podcast that she then edited out.
So Tana's been dropping hints about this for years. As Angelica there said, there was a podcast years ago where Tana said that it happened and then edited it out. But I'm a genius, so I did manage to find the clip right here.
And that's not right. That's not correct. I know now. I was 17 at the time, 18. Like, that's not what you do, but at the time it was just like, oh, you think I'm this and you're treating me and calling me all these names and treating me really horribly and like using me for a lot of money and like,
If you're gonna say I'm cheating, okay, I'm gonna cheat.
and it's like if you're using me for mad money and making me buy hella shit for you and like, you know, forcing me to fly out to you just to be like super emotionally and like psychotically abusive, like shit, okay, bet. And so I started kind of hooking up with other people. Shout out JC Kalen, shout out Cody Co.
Jesus. And now it's blowing up again, causing everybody to talk about it. Another thing people point to regarding these allegations is this old video on Tana's channel titled The Shittiest Video Ever, where Tana and Cody appear to be flirting a lot. There's this moment where she gets up to walk away and he like stares at her ass.
All right, so that's a minor one, though. I mean, you know, he's looking. Looking isn't illegal.
Now, Cody has yet to say anything about this publicly. The same applies to Noel Miller. He's never said anything about this publicly. They kind of are in their own world on YouTube, if you really think about it. Like, funnily enough, they don't really rely on anyone else to make their videos. It's just them making content, reacting to funny stuff. They have their podcast. Sometimes they have guests, of course, but it's somewhat insulated. Like, they don't really need anyone else to do their thing, which is smart. And they also don't make content about allegations. They just make content laughing at which is, you know, good for them if you want like a strategy, I guess, to escape allegations or something, right? They're insulated from the rest of the community. And as for what if Tana said is true or not, I don't know, and you don't know. The only people that know right now are Tana and Cody. They are the only two people who could possibly know if it's real. So ultimately, we're just gonna have to wait and see if anything comes of this. Cody and his wife did just have a kid, so I feel like collectively they probably don't want to talk about this, whether it's true or not, considering they've got their hands full in other ways. Now, another allegation that's been floating around is that Cody had someone who is allegedly a at his wedding. They're all talking about this over on the Cody Co subreddit, and there's also a sort of secret uncensored subreddit called Cody Co Uncensored, genius name I know, where they talk about this stuff happening, and they're apparently in the main sub they're being censored by some of the mods, but in this new sub they're able to talk about whatever they want freely. Hey y'all, I tried posting before, but I think it got taken down for drama. I'd like this post to be left up so we can discuss the accusations. I love Cody and I've been watching him as long as I remember, every video. However, now there is news about some controversy. I'd love to hear other Cody's fans' opinion on this. And to the mods, stop taking down posts about this and saying it's drama. Let me know your thoughts on this. I want him to address why he continues to be friends with someone who assaulted a woman. The evidence that it happened, even without a conviction, is strong. He videotaped himself doing it. Why would you ever want a man like that around your spouse or your family? They bring up this name here, Colby Leachman. They say he actively assaulted at least 2 women, according to the judge presiding over the lawsuit against Duke University. Watch the mods remove this fact you can find on public news websites and court records databases for drama. So what they're talking about here is this guy, Colby Leachman, like I said, Cody's friend who was at his wedding, and this subreddit is absolutely livid about this guy, and they're calling him a straight up. From what I can tell, it's a complicated situation from the court's perspective because Colby was never convicted and put in jail. And the lawsuit they're talking about was actually against the school. It was not against Colby or this other guy, his accomplice in the story, right? And Cody Co was not present for what these guys did. He's friends with Colby Leach. So they're saying that he's like complicit in what he did here, basically, right? And just to be clear, this is not an accusation about Cody Co. It's Colby Leachman is what they're talking about, okay? Cody Co has not been accused of RAPE.
Get your dick away from me.
There's also this other big post that talks about some of the details. This person says, I'm seeing some truly nasty discourse about Colby Leachman, Cody Co's bestie and best man, because he was not convicted of not really in this sub, but in other ones. You need to know how cases typically work and the details of the case before opening your mouth. It is virtually impossible to get a conviction in a case like this. For the love of God, stop using the he wasn't convicted argument. You have no idea how disrespectful that line is to SA victims because almost none of us will see a conviction or even a court case against our worders in our lifetimes. It is bad enough that the lawsuit was filed in the first place, and let me tell you something. The corrupt legal system is not just in the movies. If you're a woman, a person of color, disabled, or poor, you know how the legal system works and who it serves. It is incredibly common for judges and other officials involved to be paid off by the wealthy. And what are you going to do about it? Go to court? See the issue here? Wealthy people also get lighter sentences and punishments for the exact same crimes as others. And don't even try telling me this white boy at Duke isn't wealthy. The white boy allegations, boys and girls. The white boy allegations are here to stay. Further, Ivy Leagues and other prestigious universities are notorious for how they handle SA on their campuses. I used to attend Johns Hopkins. I and a friend on 2 separate occasions were assaulted, as were 2 girls at a frat party. We were each treated like trash by the administration, and that is part of why I withdrew from that school. Duke has a long legacy of covering up for students of rich families. The victim of Colby was drugged and there is even a video of the assault they took. She did not even have a full memory of it happening. This has been her consistent story. So tell me how someone who can't remember was able to consent with 2 men being that far gone, much less to herself being videoed. Even the admin in the school said the video was not consensual. A disciplinary panel unanimously found that there was not a preponderance of evidence that the men had violated Duke's sexual misconduct policies. Leachman entered a plea of responsibility that he violated Duke's policy with regard to unauthorized surveillance and photography. He was placed on probation. So you're telling me this guy and his friend definitely got consent to have sex with this very drugged girl, but just did an uncharacteristic oopsie when they videoed themselves doing it without consent? Drop the bullshit. Not to mention, the chief reason everything was justified is because after the woman didn't want to get into a years-long legal battle reliving her trauma. Here we have another quote saying, however, given Miss Kwayumi's clear statements in 2011 to Duke administrators that she didn't want to participate in any disciplinary proceedings and recurring statements of hesitation thereafter, no rational jury could find that Duke's response was clearly unreasonable. Eagles wrote in the ruling. This person goes on to write, considering less than 1% of actually get convicted, would you want to go through this with a bunch of rich families whose kids you? Even the judge in the case said he thinks they this woman and one other woman. The judge said that reasonable people might well think that more serious consequences would have been appropriate for the 2 accused students who, even under their own version of the facts, behaved horribly to Miss Kwayumi and at least one other woman. Colby Leachman and Brian Self are Cody Co's best man was a so please, if you have no experience with this, please stop equating the legal system with truth and morality about of all things, especially if you don't even know the details of this case. We all know the legal system doesn't do anything. There was a lawsuit. Pretty sure I'd know if my best friend got involved in an SA case. Cody knows and he doesn't care. You will notice a lot of misogynistic microaggressions in his videos, as I have for years now. That is a crazy line. Anyways, stop speaking over SA survivors, especially in a case as obvious as this. I mean, this person makes some compelling points, honestly, in regards to the legal system in colleges. You know, we've heard about this for years and years, right? But the microaggressions thing is kind of, I mean, it's just funny. Misogynistic microaggressions. That in and of itself makes this post awesome. It's straight fire. But her retelling of events is clearly biased based on personal experience. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but this woman comes from a certain perspective and she's pasting all these links about statistics related to convictions. So I thought, why not look into this specific case a little bit and just read some of the articles that she talked about and see what I can glean from them, basically, right? I was curious what I would see here. So I found this article from the News Observer published about this case back in 2011. It's somewhat extensive. They go over everything that happened here, so I thought we would just read this together. The former student, Ariana Kwayumi, sued Duke, claiming that the university violated her rights under the federal Title IX law. And for those who don't know, Title IX is a federal civil rights law, and the idea behind it is that it protects people from discrimination based on sex and education programs or activities that receive, financial assistance. So basically, like, she's trying to hold the school responsible for discrimination she faced based on her sex or something that happened to her because of her sex. She claimed that she was drugged and by 2 students in 2011 and that one of them videotaped her being assaulted. Kwayumi contended the university was deliberately indifferent and negligent in its response, ultimately leading her to transfer to another school. One of the men accused was the son of a Duke professor and stepson of the former Duke provost, Peter Lang, but the judge, Catherine Eagles, found that there was not undue influence by the parents on the process conducted by Duke. Further, Eagles wrote, the undisputed evidence establishes that Duke's response was not clearly unreasonable. The 2 accused former students, Colby Leachman and Brian Self, said the sexual contact was consensual. They were not not criminally charged and were not found responsible for sexual misconduct during Duke disciplinary hearings. On 2 occasions, Duke police took the evidence to the Durham district attorney, who declined to prosecute. So basically the boys here are saying it's consensual. That's what they said to the school during this disciplinary hearing, but there was not a criminal trial. The trial here that's happening is after the fact, after these, there was this disciplinary hearing, and ultimately the kids weren't, I don't think they were kicked out of school, they were still there. Basically, this supposed victim, Miss Koyumi, she decided to come back to the school and say, hey, you handled my case in a up way, I'm going to sue you, basically. Evidence showed Koyumi walked into Duke's student health center the day of the incident, but left without seeing anyone. She also left an anonymous note for a dorm advisor. Duke police tracked her down after rumors of 2 campus incidents of SA, and following interviews with Leachman himself, she told the police she didn't remember contact with anyone on the date in question and had not consented to any contact, according to the evidence cited in the ruling. So she's like, I don't even remember what happened. I was basically passed out. Duke's Association Dean of Students, Stephen Bryan, initiated an investigation. Administrators contacted Koyumi to say they needed her cooperation to go forward with the hearing, but she told Bryan she didn't want to be involved or talk about what happened. She took a leave of absence the next semester. In 2012, she told Bryan she wanted to initiate a disciplinary case, the court document stated, but it wasn't until 2013 when she submitted a written statement describing non-consensual contact and unauthorized recording. So this is what this person was talking about with the video. Basically, what this girl is saying is, I don't remember ever having sexual contact with these men, but they have a video of it happening, and I was passed out, so I was right. That's what she's saying. Very serious stuff here. Duke's Office of Student Conduct initiated disciplinary proceedings against the men and hired a clinical psychologist to investigate. A disciplinary panel unanimously found that there was not a preponderance of evidence that the men had violated Duke's sexual misconduct policies. Leachman entered a plea of responsibility that he violated Duke's policy with regard to unauthorized surveillance and photography. So he copped. He was like, look, I filmed her. That's the wrong thing I did. That's the fall that he took there, right? He was placed on probation. Disciplinary proceedings were not launched by Duke until 2 years after the incident. However, Miss Q, I'm going to call her Q, I don't know how to say this. Given Miss Q's clear statements in 2011 to Duke administrators that she did not want to take part in any disciplinary proceedings and recurring statements of hesitation thereafter, no rational jury could find that Duke's response was clearly unreasonable. So this is what the judge wrote. And basically what they're saying here is like, given that, the college tried to do a further investigation and Miss Q didn't want to cooperate, you can't say that the school did anything unreasonable because, if you are not willing to be a part of the investigation, there's not that much they can do. The judge said that reasonable people might well think that more serious consequences would have been appropriate for the 2 accused students, who even under their own version of the facts behaved horribly to Miss Q and at least one other woman. So she's basically saying here that like these guys are pieces of shit. That's what the judge is saying. Like it's reasonable to think that they probably should suffer more, but ultimately because at the time the investigation didn't happen, there wasn't more of a disciplinary hearing because Miss Q, the victim, didn't want to get involved here. Ultimately, it's kind of like you can't hold the school responsible. The school tried to do the best they could in this case, at least according to this, court hearing, investigation, the judge, whatever. She said certain Duke failures in 2011 could be second guessed, but the court does not evaluate Duke's conduct with the benefit of hindsight or in a vacuum. So this is like a case summary we just read here. You can see what the judge said. Based on all the publicly available stuff, we know that at the very least the judge thinks that these guys did something wrong. Or the judge thinks that these boys behaved horribly, but ultimately they weren't convicted. That's what this Reddit poster was talking about. They were saying like, look, sometimes we don't get convictions, sometimes it doesn't go through that way. Just because it's not, proven in a court of law doesn't mean it didn't happen, which is, technically true. They're not really wrong, but yeah. So one thing I did find is that in the initial lawsuit, where basically, Miss Q got a lawyer to help take the school to court, they claim that Colby lied about the existence of a video of the event to the police. This Colby kid apparently lied to the cops. Leachman is the stepson of then Provost Peter Lang. And for those who don't know, a provost at a college is like a very senior member of the school administration. They're very high up in the school hierarchy, right? So they're saying that he is the stepson of this Peter guy who is high up in the school. Leachman lied to the police about the existence of a video recording of a portion of the sexual incident, but admitted to recording it after the police obtained the video from his phone, according to the suit. It cited a campus police investigator who said Leachman's admitted conduct was a state felony. Now, keep in mind, the point of this lawsuit, once again, was to take action against Duke's faculty, not to take action against Colby. The reason the school wasn't found responsible for their response in the situation is because the alleged victim didn't want to take part in the school's disciplinary hearings. Does that mean that she lied? No, of course not. It might just mean that she's traumatized. But now the question fans are asking is, 1, did Colby Leachman rape her? And 2, if Cody Co is friends with Colby, does he know what Colby did? Is he an by extension. And this is kind of being piled onto the Tana thing. It seems like there's a bunch of stuff mounting. And there's also much less serious grievances. Like, I guess people are mad because Cody didn't say that he hated Andrew Tate.
I wasn't one of the people that was actively hoping for like an entire hour-long breakdown by them, but I would at least expect them to go at him with the same energy that they've gone after other alpha males, at least.
So where does that really leave us? Where does that leave us at the end of this allegation? Well, ultimately, I don't really know. We got to wait for what Cody says, basically. We don't know what he's going to say, if he says anything at all. Ultimately, I don't feel a high level of personal investment in this case because, you know, I like Cody Ko's content, but I'm not like a mega fan or whatever. But for a lot of his fans who really like him and want him to be a good person, this is kind of a rude awakening for them to the possibility that maybe he's not a great guy. But ultimately, we don't really know. So I'd like to know more details about this, if there are any. I think past this point, it looks like Wilbur Soot's going to keep continuing his career indefinitely if he can. I don't know if that's going to work out, but he's certainly going to try. Meanwhile, GeorgeNotFound could continue his career, but for some reason he hasn't in 5 months. Cody Ko is either just going to push through all of this and keep making his normal videos, or he's going to respond to the relatively small minority of people who want a response. And that's going to be that. As for me, well, I'm going to see you all in my new video tomorrow. Goodbye.